everyone. Welcome back to the Grow RDH podcast. Today is going to be a little bit different in terms of an episode. I know I talked last Friday about doing an episode on with Vitach Gingiva, and I am just going to be full disclosure here. This week, we had our state South Dakota Dental Hygienists Association meeting. It was our big annual meeting, and I am the secretary on our board, and we had such a great event. I am coming to you after I got home, and it is Thursday evening. I didn't get to stay for Friday because of some other obligations, but I just got home. It is late. The lighting in here is weird, and so if you're watching on YouTube, I apologize. It is late, and so this is artificial lighting, and it's going to be what it is. If you are new to the podcast, you may want to back up and listen to a few other episodes first. But welcome. My name is Katie. I'm a dental hygienist out of South Dakota, and this podcast is designed to help us sort of come together and grow professionally. And so I'm happy you're here. And if you're coming back, thanks for supporting the podcast. I appreciate it. And yeah, tonight I'm just going to talk just a little bit. I'm going to do a little debrief on the whole event. It was wonderful. It's great. And I just want to talk a little bit about supporting our professional organizations and why it's important and why being involved and getting involved, even if you just support by coming to the events and participating in the CEs throughout the day. We had our whole executive meetings, and we installed our new officers, and it was just a really great day. And so I want to start off just by saying a couple of the reasons why I think it's so professionally smart to go to these events. And the first one, I think, is the absolute amazing opportunities for networking. I worked the registration table, which I've done for the past few years, and it's wild how many people I get to see that you maybe see only once a year. And I see hygienists that I graduated with back in 2009. I see hygienists that have gone through the program and that I've taught. I see colleagues that I've worked with on the board. And I see dentists that I have worked for or that have worked with at the corrections facilities. I got to talk to one of the most supportive dentist I've ever worked with. He was there, and he stopped up at the registration table a couple different times, and we just had the best chat. And it's so fulfilling, and it really kind of gives you energy, and it gives you, I don't know, I don't want to say hope, but it helps you stay motivated. It helps you understand that the work that you're doing is important and the work that you're doing is meaningful. And yeah, it's just great. Another great thing that I love about annual meetings is the vendors, the exhibit hall, right? So I got to walk through the exhibit hall. I got to see and talk to, some of the oral surgeons in our area that we refer to. And we got to talk to a couple different loops companies. That was great. There was surprisingly a large amount of financial planning and financial management companies, which I thought was great. And another really neat exhibit was Pay Insights. Pay Insights is founded by one of my dear friends' husbands, and he's been in HR for a long time, and he's getting into doing some surveying and getting really real data on pay for the dental field. Right now, he's just focusing on hygienists. South Dakota was his very first state, and he's kind of launching, this brand, this company. And wow, the survey that he came out with was so eye-opening, and I think it's going to be really helpful for hygienists who are looking to maybe see where they're at in terms of pay. I know a lot of new grads are getting pretty outstanding wages, and the dental hygiene workforce is really low here in South Dakota. And so, for some of the more seasoned hygienists that maybe want to advocate for higher pay, I think it's great. He also works with employers in terms of sometimes it's hard for them too to know what a set rate should look like. And so he works with employers, he works with employees. It was great to hear from him and kind of see what he's been doing. So yeah, so to summarize that, the exhibits were amazing. I just like seeing what's out there, seeing what's new. Another thing that I love about our annual session and our state meeting is being able to really do some good work. We Zoom pretty much all our meetings throughout the year, and Zoom is great, right? We all went through COVID. We all know that Zooming is just kind of the norm now. And we Zoom for everything. And it allows people we're a very rural state. It allows people in the far reaches of the state to get involved. And so, no hate on Zoom, right? Zoom is great. But I do think that when you are talking about really important topics and things that need to be discussed, there is no better way to do that than in person, where you can have true conversations and really, face to face interactions about these topics. Because to me, it's just way more meaningful, and it's more productive, and I feel like you get more discussed. You set aside that time, you're there, you're not at home being distracted by whatever's happening behind your camera. And in person, you're there just for that. You've set aside that time. We had some great conversations at our last final meeting. We've made really good plans for, watching current legislation in our state. Coronal scaling is being brought up. And so we sort of got to discuss in person and debrief and talk about how coronal scaling is going to fit into our legislative plans, how we're going to fundraise and work with our lobbyists for that issue. That's a really big issue. And so that was really wonderful. I think it was just overall a really productive meeting. And so that's another reason why I think that the state meeting is just great for uh, production in terms of our state association. So it was really wonderful. And then finally, I think this is a little bit different than networking. I'm going to probably be saying the same things here, but in terms of networking, yes, professional networking and seeing people is great. Also, community building and being with a very large group of professionals that all are dealing with the same things. You feel a sense of community when you're at these events, because all the people around you are also dealing with the same issues. The CEs are relevant to the time that you're experiencing it all together. We had great CEs about oral cancer, ergonomics, and the Pay Insights course, which was amazing. And that builds community. Even if you're not like actively networking or, seeing people that if you're sitting in a class by surrounded by 10 people that you don't even know, you still have community with them because you're learning about the same thing and you may have experienced the same thing, and you get to talk about relevant issues that may be happening in your profession. So I think it's just great. And I'm going to wrap it up with that, you guys. I'm exhausted. And so I'm sorry that I did not get the With of Attached Gingiva podcast up, but I thought it was just at least worth it to hop on and say hello, say a quick hello, say thank you again for supporting me if you're listening, and encourage you to get involved. If you love going to the state meeting as well, reach out, tell me how it went, tell me what you love about it, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. If you're a South Dakota listener, our next meeting is in Rapid City. And we love that one because it just gets us out of this eastern side of the state, man. We love going out to the West River, and it's wonderful. So I encourage you to come. I encourage you to get involved in even local events that you might have. And if you're interested in any of the legislative activities that are happening in South Dakota and or in your state, if you're listening out of state, please get involved with your local association. It does so much good to have as many people as possible voicing their concerns, voicing their input, and giving their professional experience, because we all have really unique insights to give. And there's nothing better than all coming together and working towards one goal, and that's moving the profession of dental hygiene forward. So thank you for listening, and I promise I will be back next week with Wit of Attached Gingiva podcast. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go over some calculations, and it'll be great. In the meantime, go back and listen to some of the episodes maybe that you have missed, and I will see you next week.